I also simultaneously launched another channel on YouTube, Maniram Jankar Bharat, Jandar Bharat, India. It roughly translates into Maniram is name of my father. He is my main inspiration for doing good in life. Then, if India is knowledge country, then its presence will be felt, visible in whole of the world. No one can brush aside. No world discussion will be complete without a strong India. And with the international situation panning out, India is going to be playing a very major significant role, which is simultaneously a boon and also something to worry about. So anyway, we come back to the Darwin and the Middle East conundrum. Earlier I had suggested all of you to view two videos. One is about documentary of the Martin Luther King, and another is Inherit Divine 1960. I hope you have seen all of both these videos. This Darwin video, I have myself translated it into Hindi and already shared it on this channel. So who want to see it in Hindi, they can see and this channel. And if you like, then like and share. Especially I will emphasize more on sharing, and though liking is also equally important, because I want to spread knowledge to all nooks and corners, and I want people to see it as a movie, that Darwin video, dubbed version. So kindly recommend to all the family members and your relatives, etc. It is not just for children, for ladies also, because a lady at home can play a major role if she knows Darwin. So if tomorrow his son is crying that Darwin is something thrown on him and it doesn't make any sense, then his granny, mother, sister, whoever has watched this video will surely be able to lend a helping hand. So both the films have something in common. Martin Luther King, he decided to stand the mighty church. It was not an easy task. And when he started, he was literally alone. And he did know that it's only he who is going to fight it out. He had a conviction of not winning it. He never knew that he will end up winning the war, but conviction that come what may, I have to stand. Come what may, I should live for the truth and cause of the truth, because truth has always stood for the betterment of humankind. So this is why he is one of the greatest leader. Leader in the world. Then we have this second movie. In second movie we have the school teacher School teacher, there is a small town by many standards. People know each other. Most of them have grown in that area, born and brought up in that area, and they know each other by name, by everything. They know everyone else inside out. And this teacher is also one of them, among one of them. He was teaching Darwin, but this qualified him as a pronounced heretic, one who challenges the religious view of God. And Darwin was considered possessing views contrary to the prevailing conception of God. But their fear was, he is saying there is no God, and their fear was that if it is admitted that there is no God, then there will be anarchy. People will go haywire. There will be no morals, no ethics prevailing in the society, and that will result into chaos and disturbance. So on that count, they were perfectly right in opposing the teacher. They couldn't afford to teach him their children who will definitely, like them, conclude that there is no God. But he stood with his conviction. The very society in which he was born and brought up turned against him. The people who were his friends, relatives, neighbors, who were his support, friends, well-wishers, suddenly turned enemies to the extent that they were now prepared to kill him, take his life. But he stood. And even he didn't, like Martin Luther King, he didn't expect how it will turn out. So he is also leader of this movement. Then the case goes into court, and there is the village priest, or what we should call him. This teacher is in love with his daughter, and he just cannot stand that his daughter should be having any involvement with this heretic teacher. Daughter is also ambivalent. She is confused what to do. She tries to tell the teacher, his beloved, that why do you take so much of trouble? Just go the way these people want you. Just behave. Don't teach. Teach what you are told to teach. But he is not convinced. He is not convinced. He has a conviction. Quality of a leader, conviction. Brave. He is brave to stand the society, not afraid of consequences. Third, the best term, decorative term is he is different. Martin Luther King was different. He had different in having independent thinking. Better word is original thinking. Okay. Then both have knowledge, followed it with logic, ignored the obvious ability to see beyond the obvious. That again comes from knowledge. They never indulge in any guesswork. They worked hard worker to gain knowledge. They could gain knowledge, the right knowledge, only because they could think beyond ego, personal biases, personal biases, that is, we can include cultural, vested interest, cultural proclivities, or and questioning the universal accepted norms. These qualities are evident in both. Without these leaders, no one else can play any role. The followers for Martin Luther, the surprise followers, he never thought there is so much of support for him. We will come to technology also. Both of them have been helped by technology. I think before Martin Luther King there might have been many leaders, many brave leaders, as brave as these people, but they had benefit of technology. In case of Martin Luther King, printing. So, what he was saying could reach millions of people. No, maybe a bit less, but vast majority of people. That itself facilitated there are many independent thinkers in this society, many pent up grievances in this society. But for printing, they wouldn't have known that there is something who is willing to take the risk, who is willing to question the church. This is what a leader does. example. When we are in a session, when a speaker speaks something good, there is always someone who claps first that the rest of them follow. Though many of them happen to be thinking that this is worth clapping, but they don't actually end up clapping until there is a leader who claps fast. They are afraid that if they are clapping at the wrong time, if they are clapping for the insignificant thing, then people will treat them as some not so informed person. But then there are certain clappers who will take the risk and then rest follow. Then technology. In this case, technology helped people. And when people followed him in masses, it made church realize that from now on they are not going to have an unhindered. So there was some political, when masses are with you, you turn a political leader, and from there on, it's your abilities that carry you forward. Same with this, same with that. But from here, story of the teacher differs. Masses were with Martin Luther King, but the masses turned against him. But again, here is also there is a technical backing. By that time, TV or radio had already been invented. So news was a norm. There were established news channels and they were always looking for stories. And this news reporter did find this story very interesting, and since because of his story he was getting very good revenues from ads, viewerships. Same way in that Martin Luther King, he got backings of a printer. So personal interest. So some people's personal interest may have a synergy with your leadership, so they are also followed. Then there are some people who genuinely believe you because of some reason. In this case, the advocate who stood for him. I don't know how many of you know that advocate who stood for the teacher. What made him stand for the teacher? What made him? Did he believe in Darwin? Part yes, part no. Because believing in Darwin was not the only determinant for his representing Darwin, the teacher. You must have seen he had a beloved also, whom he could not marry because he was labeled as an atheist, non-believer in God. So she had to part ways with him. And he was outcasted also perhaps initially. But he was still reeling under this pain. This connected him with the cause of the teacher because his story was also similar. Father was pressing on daughter not to marry, forget the person. And after some incidences, she ultimately saw through it that she has to stand for the beloved instead of the father. Now comes the father. In the end, father dies when he loses his arguments. Before that, one more important character. That lady who is, I will use the word swing, I don't know what they call, weaving a sweater, and she is not hearing anyone, not willing to hear, but only the person absent-mindedly she hearing, and what is being said and what is being heard, she is not applying her mind. Whenever she sees, perceives in her own wisdom, for me it was equal to bounded rationality. Then she says, well done, good, and she curses the teacher. This is life. Now, is that father also standing for without any cause? Well, here I can identify with that father also. Because with the kind of bounded rationality he is living, it is very natural conclusion that the society will collapse if doctors or teachers or Darwin's teachings are taught. He might be right, he might be wrong. For us, in the hindsight also, most probably 90%, 99% of us would have stood with that father only in those times. I can tell you examples from modern day life. I am going to go to that aspect of. So, he saw his survival in danger. He saw his survival in danger. That means it was his conviction. It was his faith, it was his knowledge, the Bible, the religious book. We can call it personal bias, but only when we know that Galileo knew that it is earth, that is, before Galileo even we would have believed that everything in the universe takes rounds. So before coming to any solutions to our problems in life, and our problems are not personal problems as on date, they are our global concerns, threat to the life on globe emanating from ecological imbalances, and then vested interests of certain lobbies and also certain countries who are imperialistic in to the core. It's so easy to label a country as imperialistic, though they are imperialistic. But maybe they have some regional region. So for that we have to develop some deeper understanding of political affairs, what is happening, and economics role in all the things.